What's up, everybody? This is a 7X Fan Ben here with another battle report. So this is just an off-the-cuff quick battle report of a 3-player 80-point game played in Las Vegas. So we matched up. It was a relatively new player, and then one of my friends that I played with in Vegas before, as well as yours truly. So I'll go through the fleets briefly in play order. Up at the top right, we've got the English. They've got a Spanish ship as well. So that was the newest player. So they had Endeavor, Gallows, Santa Isabel, and then Aberdeen Baron. So some of the better ships in the game in a mixed fleet there. I went second. I've got the home island kind of like middle north area. So I'll actually go over my fleet a little bit. Oh, there's their fleet, the first one. And then my fleet, I put it on PSM list. It's called Sickle Carves Them Up. So I wanted to use the Cursed. I was in the mood to use a Switchblade. And I know Skin Flare is better than Sickle, but I haven't really used Sickle as much as a result. So I wanted to use some underused ships. So I used Sickle, Maman Bridget, and Kalim, Squallow, and Lightning was the support ship. So I was actually pretty happy, especially with the Hag of Tortuga with the +5 points. I was pretty happy with how much I was able to fit into an 80-point cursed fleet build. So Sickle had Rise of the Fiends Phantasma on board for Eternal, Fear, and Same Action Twice. She also had Captain Hells and Oarsman. And then Kalim actually had Grapple Shot aboard, which I wasn't really able to use, but I wanted to try it out to see if I could use that in conjunction with Kalim's boarding ability, where if this sea monster succeeds at a boarding party, it also eliminates a mast. And then Squallow was there to fill out some points and add some Submerged Fear. And then Lightning was kind of like a triple threat support ship. So it had the Hag of Tortuga for the +5 points, Lucky the Parrot for spying on enemy ships, cargo on ships, and then a navigator to place trade currents. So that was my fleet. And then the other player had a Pirates of the Caribbean pirate faction fleet. So they used only pirate ships from the POTC release. And we've got the Black Pearl as the flagship, and then a bunch of other ships as well. So that was cool. It's cool to see stuff like Hanyu Pinyin and Dolphin get used because they don't always see a ton of action. So it's pretty neat to see those in play as well. So I'll just go straight into it. So here we see, I'll probably go like top left to bottom right on a lot of the pictures. So I had Mama and Bridget go to explore the Northwest Island. I found trade route 6, 4, and 1 were the 4 coins there. And I was really happy to find trade route because it was a UT that I had included, and I was really itching to use it because I've barely ever used it before, maybe never. And the 1 was perfect, so I actually only took those 2 coins, and the plan was to bring home the 1, and then once somebody else had gold on their home island, I would flip trade route and trade them a 1 for whatever coin they had on their home island, which ideally I would have already seen, and that's kind of how it worked out because I was able to use Lucky the Parrot to spy enemy coins coming home. And also with trade route, of course, ideally you would use it early in the game because usually the biggest loads of treasure that come home are early in the game because people take the best coins from the islands and bring them back quick. So Aberdeen Baron is already coming home on the east side, on the right side of the picture, and I had spied a 4 on that ship. So I was already, seeing the arbitrage where I could use trade route to trade my 1 for a 4 from someone else's home island, or maybe even better than a 4. So therefore I left the 6 and 4 on that northwestern island, which would come into play later in the game. And then the rest of my fleet split up. Squallow went south, Kalim went southwest to kind of guard that wild island for the time being. And then the Sickle actually stayed home because I was pretty wary of the Whirlpool double action potential. So through spying and also people revealing crew, I think initially through spying Lucky the Parrot, I was able to see that Calico Cat, Same Action Twice, was on the Black Pearl, and then Sir Christopher Mings was on HMS Gallows. So both of those ships had SAT capability. So one ship in each fleet had SAT, which is good to know. And then that kind of made me a little wary of waiting by the Whirlpool in case somebody else used the Whirlpool to pop through with an SAT to smash Sickle. So I actually put Sickle back at the home island, I think during the second turn, to try to stay safe. And then I was kind of waiting for my own SAT to potentially pop through the Whirlpool for an attack. So So pretty interesting. I was the one that placed, I think, 2 or 3 of the whirlpools, probably because I had SAT and then got some mega train as well. So, and understand that a lot of these off the cuff battle reports, they're going to be, of course, from my perspective, and especially with no script, it might seem like it's overly focused on my fleet, but that's just kind of how it's inevitably going to end up. So it saves time not having to write a script and all that. I'll probably do that again at some point, but for right now, I just want to keep it simple and have fun rather than focusing on the production side of any of it. So we actually saw like an Outworld's End conflict with Endeavor and Black Pearl. So kind of similar to the movie. And in this case, Black Pearl was able to take some big hits on HMS Endeavor before the English were able to return fire. So I think that was due to same action twice from Calco Cat. But actually, I think what happened, Lawrence was revealed on Endeavor back when Endeavor was kind of over more in the middle of the frame. And that shut down the Black Pearl's Hammersmith, who has the captain ability. So his captain ability got canceled, but the Endeavor was surprisingly unsuccessful returning fire, basically, or firing on the Black Pearl. So it's kind of an interesting little skirmish. It was kind of surprising between the really good cannons of both ships. It was surprising that neither ship was sunk from that encounter. So, and then the iceberg started to plague the Caribbean pirates because the Dolphin had gotten hit with an iceberg. You can see your mast there, and then the Black Pearl actually took a hit from an iceberg after repairing. So pretty bad luck for the pirates overall so far. So here we see Swift has round earthed from the pirate fleet, and she's in the north of this frame, actually just out of the frame right now. But so she was coming for that 10 gold that I left on the Northwest Island, which made me want to use Sickle to get after her and take that threat out, because I really wanted to get that 10 gold home. So, and then here, the rest of the map is mostly the same. Song had found, at the bottom left, you can see Song. She had found the metal hull UT, which slowed her down, and I was trying to go after her with Kalim. And you can see that the Navigator on Lightning has placed a few trade currents as well. So Kalim smashed up Song, and that ship would stay there for almost the entire rest of the game. So Kalim was able to ram and dismast the ship. I think she won the boarding party, which triggered the ability of Kalim to eliminate an additional mast from winning the boarding party. So that ship is derelict. Here we see Mama and Brigitte. I got home. I unloaded the 1, and I flipped trade route, and I was able to trade the 1 for a 4 from the English player. So I had a +3 gold arbitrage from the trade route UT. The issue, of course, was that I had let that 10 gold sit on the island. So you can see Sickle sailing north to intercept Swift. So, and then here we have Squallow. I was trying to basically board the Jolly Mon to eliminate the pirate Hag of Tortuga from the Jolly Mon docked at the pirate home island, but Dragon was able to get in there and kind of block my path because Squall only has one segment, only L-based move, so I wasn't able to properly surface to ram Jolly Mon yet, with Dragon docking at home with some gold aboard. Dolphin at the top of the frame has repaired and sailed back out, and then Kalim is submerged again, is heading north back to where she was earlier in the game. So here's a wide shot showing a decent amount of stuff happening. Sickle has basically dismasted the Swift, and then you can see near the top of the frame that I captured her with Sickle. I think, yeah, Sickle got a same action twice. So I was able to dismast Swift with the first action and then tow with the second. And then from there, I released the tow. Swift rode S towards my home island, which got her within towing range of Mama and Bridget. So and then Mama and Bridget took up towing. So I was just trying to get, this was after Swift loaded the 10 gold from that Northwest Island. So at this point, the gold's already on Swift. Here, I made a mistake. I should have transferred that 10 gold directly to Mama and Bridget, but I was just trying to get Swift home really quick. I was trying to get her to my home island as fast as possible, which meant that I used a move action on Swift in order to get her closer, but I probably could have waited. And then once Mama and Bridget towed her, or once they touched, I could have transferred the 2 coins to Mama. But anyway, so and then at the top right, Gallows is coming home with gold. At the far left, Aberdeen Baron has Round Earth to the west. And it looks like that ship has her eyes on the gold that Kalim is kind of guarding a little bit. And then Black Pearl is heading home to repair along with Hanyu Pinion. So at this point, Endeavor was heavily engaged in repairing. You can see her at the top right. So Endeavor had lost 4 out of her 5 masts, mostly to the Black Pearl and Hanyu Pinion. So she's actually going to be repairing for quite a while now. Gallows and Senate Isabel have both returned home for the English, and this gave them a gold lead. I don't know how much they had at this point, but they were certainly in the lead on coins. And by now they had also built El Castillo del Infante on the northeastern island, Wild Island, when Gallows was still docked there. So they got a fort in the north as well. So here, Mama and Bridget has stopped towing Swift to return home to my home island. Swift is rowing home, but is not quite there yet. So I wasn't going to get home towing Mama and Bridget either. I don't think that would have been faster. So, and then the pirates are kind of congregating in the middle a little bit with Dolphin and Hanyu Pinion and Black Pearl. But the big action this turn was Sickle going crazy with a same action twice. I think coming out of the whirlpool. Yeah, because I was able to get SAT at a good time once again for the second time in a row, and I was able to get same action twice at a clutch time. So I was able to zip through the whirlpool, use the same action twice coming out to smash up Aberdeen Baron, and then I think that took out maybe 4 of her masts, or at least 3, and then Kalim came over to make her a derelict. So I was able to combine my 2 expensive units here to totally crush the main English gold runner. And then the problem was my captured Swift was completely vulnerable to Black Pearl's extreme range. So this is where I should have pre-measured, or at least taken into the possibility the possibility for Pearl to get an SAT. So she went LSS to zip all the way from where you see her in this picture, southeast of my home island, all the way around the iceberg that had gotten stuck at my home island to sink the derelict Swift that was rowing home with 10 gold aboard. So at this point, I had made a mistake where I hadn't transferred the gold to a more durable ship like Mama and Bridget, and lost that 10 gold. So neither myself nor the Pirate Caribbean player that explored was able to grab it. So at this point, I thought it was the English player's game to lose, and I didn't think I was going to stay in the game. But it wasn't over yet, so we still had, this was probably only about halfway through the turns, maybe, or maybe a little more. All right, so, and Lightning, of course, is camped out in the fog, just generating trade currents, which were really helpful for my fleet. Actually, they helped, especially towards the end, but they helped Kalim and Mama and Bridget, and I think Sickle, especially throughout the game. And I think Squallow benefited from them a little bit as well. So here, Santa Isabel and Gallows have set out again for the English player, and then Sickle is docked at the island. I was thinking about capturing Aberdeen Baron, but it didn't work out that way. And then Mama and Bridget has gone through a whirlpool to come out to this island in the west, and that's actually the final unexplored wild island. So I was pretty excited to see what was there, and kind of surprised that it was still unexplored. So at this point, Squallow actually rammed and boarded Jolly Mon, but failed to kill the Hag of Tortuga. So it was still surface, but I went into the fog bank to prevent Jolly Mon from shooting a fin off of the Squallow shark. So that's what you can see at the bottom left. And then at this point, Kalim is submerged, but has come through the whirlpool to come back towards my home island, because I think she stole a coin from Song, and is looking to deposit that at my home island. And then Dragon, for the Pirates of the Caribbean pirate player fleet, the Dragon has explored in the bottom right, and that's a island that was mostly drained by Aberdeen Baron already. So here, Aberdeen Baron was scuttled. I believe Mama and Bridget lost a mast and crew to the Dolphin, who had a captain aboard actually, and was able to take a shot at my Mama and Bridget. But the Maman did explore and I was able to find, I think, 10 gold there. I think it was 6211 or something like that. So I was pretty happy to see some gold on that western island. The key would be getting it home, which I didn't have a lot of faith in. And then it looks like Sickle got another same action twice to go through the whirlpool and execute a raid on the dragon, which sank that ship. So I was thinking about trying to capture, but I think it was only a 1 gold coin aboard. And also the issue is I needed another action to tow the ship because I used both to come through the whirlpool and dismast her. So I might as well just sink her. And she had the monkey's paw aboard, actually. So that's actually part of why she sank, is I think my regular cannons hit 2 out of 3, but then with the monkey's paw, it basically turned a miss into a hit. Or the first cannon automatically hit. So it was 3 hits to sink the dragon. And the Pirates are really under siege of their home island, actually, because then I took Squallow back out of the fog bank to ram Jollyman, which did kill Hag of Tortuga. And at this point, I had actually eliminated both of the ransom crew in the other fleet. So you can see Bradley and the Hag at my home island worth 1 gold each. And I've got my second coin home via Kalim. So I was able to surface, dock, unload the coin. Black Pearl and Honey Pinion are headed south now, as is Gallows. And then Endeavor, of course, still repairing, but finally about to set sail again. So Squallow was left vulnerable here. This was actually an interesting point in the game. So Black Pearl came over and killed the shark. And then that's really all this picture shows, actually. So I'll keep going. Here I got lucky where the pirate player didn't go after Mama and Bridget. There was one point where Black Pearl, I think it was where he went after Squallow instead. I think he had just enough range to try to attack Mama and Bridget near my home island, kind of similar to how the Black Pearl had sank Swift early in the game with the same action twice from Calico Cat, but he actually decided to go after Squallow instead, I believe, or actually he went, I think from here he got another SAT and then went south to Round Earth because he was going after the fort, the Spanish fortress controlled by the English player. So that was actually a big break for me because Mama and Bridget was eventually able to unload that gold at home, which was pretty crucial gold for my ending tally. So at the bottom left, Santa Isabel has Round Earth to grab the final coin from the southwest island, and HMS Endeavor is finally set sail again. So here we see what I mentioned a minute ago with Black Pearl round earthing to go after the fort. The problem here is the English with their big gunships, Gallows and Endeavor, are headed towards the scene as well. So here this was pretty much getting into the endgame phase for sure. So because this fort gold was some of the last gold available at this point, along with I think maybe 1 coin on Santa Isabel, but I think that was the Driftwood UT. So I think from memory, there's the 3 gold used to build the fort. The face down is a 2, and then Santa Isabel has the Driftwood UT that I put in that wouldn't really be a factor. So I think those were the final 3 coins available in play, I believe. So at this point, Mama and Bridget docked home that gold that I got. I was really happy to get that. Sickle has returned home to protect her and to repair, and then Kalim is just chilling for now, but I'm also laying down trade currents to potentially go for a northern offensive soon. But of course, I was happy that Black Pearl got in there first and wrecked the fort. So she went, I think she barely got it. She went like 5 for 8 or 6 for 8, something like that, to destroy the fort, which reverts it to an unexplored wild island. Sickle got another good timing, same action twice, and carved up the Santa Isabel. And Kalim is getting out there too, still submerged, I think. But this was kind of the late game, like big clash, epic conflict that we had. So pretty much all the major like ships from each fleet, like you got Gallows, Endeavor, Black Pearl, Sickle, and Kalim, all 5 kind of converging in the same area to contest this final gold. So here, Santa Isabel was able, with 1 mast, was still able to dock and explore that island where the fort was and reclaim that gold for the English fleet. But she lost a mast to Kalim, who rammed her, and then Kalim was able to steal one of the coins. I stole the 3 with Kalim from Santa Isabel, which ended up being not super important, but it did help, of course. And then Black Pearl actually smashed. I was hoping Black Pearl would go after the English, but Black Pearl hit Sickle, and Sickle had a good run, but at this point she was probably toast. I was able to scuttle her, but we'll talk about that soon. So yeah, Sickle got dismasted, not quite sunk. And then can't remember why Endeavor turned around, but anyway. And then the Pirates have a few more ships. Hanyu Pinyin and Dolphin are surging north to potentially try to cut off Santa Isabel if she tries to return home. And I think Mama and Bridget just repaired that turn. Actually, at this point, Mama and Bridget only had an explorer. She had lost her helmsman and oarsman, so she was too slow to do much valuable work at this point. So here we see Black Pearl has gone after, it looks like Gallows, but Gallows got the better of her in this engagement. The pirate player they got kind of unlucky this game. So, and then here their Hanyu Pinyin and Dolphin are still headed northeast. And then Kalim, I submerged immediately. I didn't want to get greedy and try to reboard Santa Isabel for her other coin, because I knew that would probably wreck. Kalim would probably be killed trying to get greedy, because Gallows, Black Pearl, and Endeavor was still all right there. And of course, Endeavor had Lawrence the Canceller. So I submerged Kalim with just the one coin and sped back home with the squid. So I was able to get the coin home, which definitely further increased my chances of catching the English player. At this point, we had a pretty similar amount of coins, so I was starting to feel like I could actually potentially win. So at this point, I had scuttled the Sickle, but with Phantasma's Eternal, it warped right back to my home island. And then I got another same action twice from Phantasma to repair 2 masts. And I also laid down a trade current with the Navigator on Lightning to try to that was laid down to the east of Sickle to try to get her into action where she might be able to take a northeasterly route to intercept any potential endgame shenanigans that would happen from here. So Black Pearl was captured by the English, and that player got a same action twice from Calico Cat right away to repair 2 masts with Black Pearl's shipwright, which was getting quite a bunch of usage in this game, actually. So, because it had repaired earlier after, I think the Endeavor hit her, or the iceberg hit the Black Pearl early in the game. So the English have captured the Black Pearl, but the Pirates are trying to get some revenge with Hanyu Pinyin and Dolphin. At this point, the Santa Isabel's coin was still like stuck there, so that would kind of play a little bit of a role too. So here Endeavor has turned on Dolphin and Hanyu Pinyin, but they were able to the Pirates were able to take out a few masts on Black Pearl. So, and then eventually they sank her. So the Pirates didn't want anybody to be able to use the Black Pearl, of course, so they were able to sink their former ship so that the English would be denied from using her further. But by this point, Sickle had repaired a 3rd mast and gotten another same action twice that she was able to combine with a trade current to move LS to go out and smash up the Gallows. And then Kalim from the other side rammed Santa Isabel to take that final coin. So, and then here Mama and Bridget, even with her slow speed, I was able to send her through a whirlpool to capture the Song, which had been derelict for most of the game. I just did this for units in play because that's the tiebreaker if people tie on gold. So I just want to grab another ship real quick. And that's the last picture I have. So the way I can't remember what happened to the 2 coin. I think Endeavor just sank. It killed Kalim, and then that coin sank with the squid's death. So that 2 coin didn't end up in the hands of me or the English. But the final scores were, I actually won with 25 gold. The English player had 18, and then the Pirates had 8. So it was a good game. I think it was really cool to see a lot of variety. So it was really cool because we were able to use most of our abilities and strategies in like a rather comprehensive way. Like we saw a ton of ability usage, and we saw the UTs come into play a little bit. Potions and Brews was played unsuccessfully by the pirate player. They had the worst luck out of the 3 of us this game. I had decent luck with like boarding. I got a bunch of 6s, and then same action twice. I got like good timing with it. I didn't hit same action twice all the time, but when I hit it, I was able to take like big advantage of it with the Sickle. So the timing of it was really good. And then the English player had probably like average luck maybe, but anyway, so overall it was a really fun game. I was happy to use this fleet. I was happy to use the Switchblade quite a bunch, and then Eternal. I think Fear was a weird one. I think it hit at a bad time when I was trying to take out the Hag of Tortuga. But anyway, there was a lot of fun stuff used in all this. Had fun. It was kind of a long game, but it was pretty worth it, and overall a pretty good comprehensive experience. And it was also the first game with terrain and unique treasures for the new English player, so that was great as well. So anyway, great game, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in more Pirates videos.